Hello, my name is Michael Ashbrook. I'm with Sid, and I'd like to tell you about the Luxembourg Understaffed Committee. Now, the official designation is the Local Staff Committee of Luxembourg, but you'll see in a moment why my name fits much better. There are 20 mandates in the committee, and a quorum is 10 members present. Without that, there cannot be a valid meeting, and they can take no decisions. Now, in 2010, the biggest union in Luxembourg won 17 out of the 20 mandates. So one would expect that there's never a problem with the quorum, because after all, even if 7 of their 17 are absent, they still have a quorum. However, that's not how things worked in practice. Starting in the summer of 2012, there were more and more meetings that had to be rescheduled because there simply were not 10 members present. Now, the motto of this big union is listen, act, get results. And perhaps the 17 members were just too busy to go to a staff committee meeting because they had to somehow or other be getting results. But the question is, whom are they representing, and how are they representing, and what are they representing? So my advice would be, don't vote for this union again. 17 is definitely too many mandates for them. Just a handful would be much better, even in their own interest, and especially, of course, in the interest of staff. Now, this is, so to speak, I've been speaking about the Giga Union. Well, what about the nano unions, which exist too in Luxembourg? That is to say, the unions that are very, very small. Okay, for an example, there's a list put up by 2 unions of the nano unions, let us say, that has 19 couples, in other words, 38 people. And that looks pretty big at first, but there's a problem with it. Namely, only about 4 of the people on the list have previous experience with staff representation, with committee work, with union work, so on. The others were, well, persuaded to be candidates. So they are, in fact, beginners, absolute beginners. And it's a good question, do we want them to do their apprenticeship just in this period here when we're between 2 bad reforms? Because you can count on something. The next cuts are coming around 2017. We're not going to have 10 years respite like we had after 2004. So this might be a bad time to have people like that on the staff committee. Of course, I'm the first to acknowledge SID was very small when it began, and we too had to learn. But all of our candidates have previous experience, and that should count for something. Then there's another union, even smaller, even more a nano union. They have a list of 8 couples. And it was quite a sight to see how they got their 8 couples. Namely, they had a huge info stand in the cafeteria of the Jean Monnet building, and they had people going around putting their tracts on all the tables, etc. But the thing was this: the majority of the people on that at that stand were actually from Brussels. They had come over to help out their friends in Luxembourg, which, as far as it goes, is perfectly legitimate. There's nothing wrong with solidarity. But you have to really see that on that list, there's only one person out of the 16, all in all, who has any previous experience with union work. And you have to see that with those nano unions and their micro lists, what you're really doing is you're voting for a union that's up in Brussels. And the people who are on the list here are simply their representatives for Luxembourg.